This segment of Open Up is brought to you in part by Abetaweed, the locally owned company that has everything you need for lush, weed-free gardens and lawns, from the smallest backyards to the property of the biggest businesses, and with top quality equipment and products better than the big chains, and they service what they sell. Located on Rosedale Highway, just east of Callaway, across from the promenade. Be loyal, buy local, Abetaweed.com.
Thank you, Abetaweed. And also, we'd like to thank others that we have support of. Chris, are we going with our... Thank you, Legal Shield.
Legal Shield. We're talking about Daniel Webb and Legal Shield. This is the company that can protect you, whether you've got a trivial issue or a traumatic issue. This is the company you can call up at just pennies on the dollar and get legal advice, strong legal help. And for things like identity theft, before, during, and after, they will make you good. So it's LegalShieldAssociate.com.
Yes, thank you. And then we'd also like to thank one of our supporters, Kern Construction and Electric Incorporated. Robert Miller, longtime Bakersfield resident, who, like Phil was saying earlier, has a heart for what he's doing. And Robert can be contacted at 661-322-5554 for remodeling of homes and businesses.
And if you're serious about getting fit and buff and healthy, BakersFit.com. Bill Robinson, the best personal trainer in Bakersfield, 2 years running. He can do it for you. They've got a great facility, so check it out. BakersFit.com.
Yes. And, wow, Don, we are about to hear an amazing story.
Yes, I'll tell you what. You know, we've got so many young people in this, young men and women who have come through the whole drug thing, the whole drug scene, and come out the other end really serving and helping those who are already mired in that kind of situation. And one of those young men we have with us now is Kyle Turney. Yes. Kyle and I met. Kyle went through the program more than once at the Bakersfield Rescue Mission. He was a dropout a couple times, but he just kept coming back, fighting back, sort of like Rocky, getting himself off the mat and fighting back against this thing that had a hold on his life. And boy, has he ever come out the other side. Kyle, good to see you. You're looking great, man.
Welcome to Open Up.
Yeah,
and not only have you just come out the other side, you've come out with a book to your credit. Tell us about your book. Maybe the book can just walk us through the whole adventure.
Yeah, that'd be great. My name is Kyle Turney. I'm an author now, and I had a hard life. You know, I had two parents that were always there for me. They were limited by their belief system and what they knew, and they taught me to the best of their ability to put me out there in life and to teach me to overcome those odds. And that's the one quality that I held within myself that kept taking me back to that program, that kept telling me no. I found I had a desire within myself to do good, but I had a belief system that told me otherwise. And I had influences from friends. Everything you pick up through your childhood, you carry on into your adulthood. And I touched on that subject in my book about taking that fight back to our children, you know, where it's important. Why are we waiting until they're older? And we're putting it on the parents to help enhance the freedoms of the individuals, of the parents in America, you know. But I pointed out the fact that by doing so, we limit the freedoms of our children because every parent is limited by what they have learned up until that point.
It's true.
Yeah.
So I cut into that into my book. For the past 5 years, since I was 20 years old, 21, past 4 years actually.
So you're 25 now, Kyle.
25 now, yeah. I was battling drug addiction, depression, suicide, to the point where I got PTSD and anxiety, and I'd just be sitting there, and I would make it like 4, 5, 6 months, a year, and I would stay clean, and life would overwhelm me. And I was always that kid that asked, how come? Why? What if? And, you know, it's those questions that helped me understand the problem that we were in. And it was a desire to love others no matter where they were at in life that gave me the meaning behind my book. My book is about, it's called Fighting for the Unfortunate and Becoming Great in the Process. And I specifically picked out that name to describe the fight that you have to overcome society and remain an individual at the same time while not leaving other people behind. And it's about working as a group, but respecting your own personal values and going for that dream. You know, and in the first chapter of my book, I cut into this subject of how your belief system is built. And I get into how your emotions work. And I write all this stuff without ever reading Plato or Forbes or any of this. And upon completion of my book, I start reading their work, and I'm seeing that not only did I build upon what they have developed, I had actually created new ideas that were beneficial for all aspects of life, because I wrote my book from my perspective of being on the top end, working in corporate LA, going down there and taking over a company in the first week on my sales, being offered a vice president position at 24 years old, having a daughter at 23 years old. I have a 2-year-old daughter right now, and she's about to turn 3 in November. And I had that desire, and I found that society, when you mess up, you begin to feel oppressed and abandoned and alone. And of course, yeah, you started the process, but the process started way back before that. It came from your belief system that you had developed, no matter how it was influenced or developed. But there's good in that belief system and there's bad. So what makes people different? It's that desire that you have within yourself to either be good or be bad, because it takes time to change that belief system. And I wrote a part in my book that talks about life is like a game of rugby. Some people describe it like football, but I describe it as rugby because life keeps going. And rugby is fast paced, and you get knocked down and you get back up and you keep going for that goal. And you know, I would venture out to say that you could get knocked all the way out of the grandstands and come back, because I have. I felt depressed and alone. And a couple weeks ago, I just sat down and said, you know what? I'm not going to do this anymore. Because my common denominator was that I didn't have everything in my life that I wanted, because I dreamed so big and I felt like I couldn't achieve it. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to let the obstacles that tell me I can't define the man I am. And
So you did not reduce your goals. You did not diminish your dreams. You kept them as big as you could, and just said, I can do this.
There was a defining moment there. And it actually came from a meeting back when I knew Don a couple years ago. Me and Don were sitting there and over lunch, and we were enjoying lunch talking about life, and Don wanted to go forward. He had known that he hadn't reached his limit in life. And here I am, a young guy. Don's there with his wisdom, and I'm here with my young ambition. And the two of us sitting over lunch, conversing on life and not letting age define our relationship. Instead, we encouraged each other to go out there and do something and go for it. And here we are 2 years later, meeting up here on the show to talk about what both of us have accomplished. You know, Don's here on the radio show with you guys, and me, I'm an author now. And it's because we both said, you know what, we're not going to let, when people tell us, no, you can't go for your dreams, define the people we are. Because if you're doing it in integrity and you're doing it out of love, then you're capable of all.
You know, it does seem like those who have been most successful in coming out of addictions, depressions, are those who have reached a point where they've turned their lives to the service of others. And in serving others, suddenly they are made whole.
Yes,
Tell us,
yes.
it seems like that's exactly what's happened in your experience, Kyle.
Don, I remember the first time I met you. We were both down at the local homeless shelter. You were there serving food. I was there running the sound equipment to keep the show going. And I had walked up and introduced myself to you. And it was a moment that we were both in service that brought us together. And I sat down, and my whole motivation behind this book wasn't money. It wasn't even really my dreams, because my dreams correlated with that everything that other people were going through. I had been going around in every program that I had been in and everything I was in, and I spent every single ounce of my effort to explain to people the value of unity, the value of working together, the value of loving yourself, the value of not being held down in life. Because when you fall down, you have to be quick to get back up and not let others tell you, no, you can't do it. Because that's the
yes.
most important moment right then, is that moment you get up and you
Yes.
decide, because everybody in life makes mistakes. And as a society, we define mistakes on a level, you know, and some people go through lives and they never get caught for their mistakes. Some people hide their mistakes. With addiction, it's a hard thing to hide, you know, and people know it. So you have to learn to have your mistakes out there on the table and find a way to climb out of it.
Yeah.
You have to find a way to be in the hole and get out.
Okay.
I remember, and
Chris says we need to go to
oh, okay.
we need to go to a break.
We will have far more with Kyle when we
Yes,
come right back.
fascinating young man. So thank you for staying with us.